What's up? This is Highly Recommended. We're here in the barbershop with Hair by AJ, and we've got a very special guest with us today. We've got TobyRaps.
Rapping. TobyRaps. What's up, man?
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be in Kansas City.
Do you go by Toby, TobyRaps, Ryan?
I go by Toby. Mr. Raps is good. Toby's good. Toby, and colloquially. If you want to say Ryan, you can let it slip too. That's all right. But yeah.
All right.
Ryan, Toby, hello.
To somebody who may not know your music, how would you describe that music to them?
I would describe my music as trying to find the midpoint between musical theater and like very bar heavy hip hop, like such as like a J. Cole or a Lil Wayne. I'm trying to find where that, honestly, it's like Atmosphere meets Lil Dicky is pretty much what I would say that I am.
Yeah, I could definitely see where the atmosphere on some of your tracks that I've heard, but then the Lil Dicky with like some of more comedy or pop.
Yeah, we're trying to preach philosophy, but we're also not too serious about, we're just being a little whimsical,
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, the philosophy, the like conscious rap that you do, every song seems like it's got a theme and a message is something that, a lot of people might not speak about, but they can relate to when they hear that. So,
yeah.
why don't you tell me about how you came up with the name TobyRaps?
Well, I was just doing Toby for a while, and I had right when I made an Instagram in 2012 or something like that, I made just TobyRaps was my handle, but I would always be billed as just Toby is what I was going. My first album or whatever, it was just I would go by Toby, and there's just so many Tobys. There's so many Tobys that are just Tobys, and then you get into the Toby Keiths that are always going to make, essentially, I was just unsearchable because I was just not very big, still not very big. And then Matt Rhodes from Tropodelic took me aside one day and was just like, hey man, you should go by TobyRaps. It's already your Instagram handle, and that's way more searchable. Do whatever you want to do, but just if you're trying to be, if you're letting people find you, you should go by TobyRaps. I was like, that's a great idea. And so I took all my music off in 2020, took all my music offline, re-uploaded it as TobyRaps. I think you can still search my old Toby. I took all the music off, and it's just a picture. I have a star on my nipple, a tattoo of a star on my nipple. And so there's just somewhere on the Spotify Ethernet or whatever on the internet, it's just Toby, and this is a star of nipple.
Is it the same songs or is
I don't think there's any songs left on that. I think it just says 0 monthly listeners. It just says Toby with a nipple star. So yeah, that's I changed my name to TobyRaps in 2020. That was by suggestion of Tropodelic, and that was a great idea.
Well, shout out to Rhodes for
shout out to Matt Rhodes. Yeah, good guidance. Great guy, good guidance, and just really just the Tropodelic people. James Begin being my best friend from college, and all of those dudes in Tropodelic have been a huge reason that it's a huge reason that I came to Kansas City, and you guys know who I am. Without the band Tropodelic, my buddy James, all of the guys in Tropodelic, I would not be nearly as known or able to even meet the Palmer Squares, who I'm on tour with right now. None of the things that I've done would have happened if I never met James Begin in college. And it was changed my life. Never would have known it then, but changed my life.
Yeah, we sing our praises for Tropodelic all the time because they've done a lot and we love their music. So we got to be careful about giving them too much props all the time because then that's all we talk about.
Yeah, you can't just always, you gotta play both sides, but they're great.
How long have you been making music, and how did you get started?
How long have I've been making music? Pretty much, for since 8th grade, I would play my guitar, play 4 chords on the guitar. My dad is a musician, and he would always just he gave me my first guitar, and I just make silly little songs on my bed. And then when I was a senior in high school, my brother brought up our Rock Band mic. It's a little USB, and you can plug it into your computer. And we downloaded a free trial of Mixcraft, which was the knockoff Garage Band. Yeah. And we got a bunch of just ripped beats offline. And we made, I went to private school. I was a little fucking private school boy. And me and my brother were just making raps. Never it was always true to who I was. And I've always felt any music I've made has largely been I haven't been like trying to be like put on a persona of somebody I'm not. It was me making music as a private school kid. It was terrible, but and my brother was honestly pretty good. And I don't know. I just fell in love with it. Like it was just something always to do. And like I wrote my first raps when I was probably 17 years old, and I was terrible, but I just would keep doing it. My senior project was like, my senior project for a couple of my classes were just like, I always incorporated rap. Like my mythology final in my senior year in high school was, I just made a rap about Greek mythology. And so I just kept doing it. And it was like, I'm smoking weed. It's high school. I'm just constantly freestyling with a couple of my buddies named Addison and Andrew. And then I went to college, wrote raps in my dorm room, just smoking weed, making raps in my little dorm room with a little shitty mic and garage band. And then it's my sophomore year in college, I met Chris DeCola, who's my producer, he's Tropidelic's producer as well, and James Begin. Chris and James knew each other from high school, and they showed up at Cleveland State University. And it's just like, you just like, those certain people that you meet, you're like, these are my people. Yeah. So Chris had just started producing, didn't really, he had recording software and he had a mic, but wasn't really a producer yet. And I really wasn't a rapper yet. But together we kind of fused together, and like James, me and Chris just kept making music since my sophomore year in college. And I've just been doing it since then. I've just been recording some form of music, and it was shitty, and now it's less shitty. Now it's getting to the point where it's pretty good.
Let me kind of touch on what you just said. You were talking about how you felt like your music was, you called it shitty.
It was worse. It was definitely worse.
I wouldn't say that. But you said,
you haven't heard the old stuff. Yeah.
We'll have to be the judge of that.
Yeah.
So where do you feel like you're at now as opposed to when you released your very first album? I mean, how have things changed for you in terms of, you being a professional about things and whatnot? I
think now, a big part of it too is just like Chris DeCola's a lot better. Like just Chris has just been making beats. Chris is now at the point where he like makes several beats a day, just like, so just because I don't know anything about production for the most part. Like I've been around someone, I've been co-pilot to a producer for years now, so I can like suggest things like, oh, we should go into Splice, or we should, pull up some samples in Arcade, or maybe but I can just broadly speak on what we should do here. I don't know any of the specifics or the buttons. So I think now I guess like I'm a little more hands-on from a production standpoint. Like if I'm trying to make my vision come true, it helps to know some industry standard terms, just to be like, I think I'm more familiar with like looking at Logic, looking at a recording session, and like now I can actually suggest, as opposed to like, in 2012 it's like, I have these lyrics and I have this hook and I don't know anything, like, and make it sound good, please. Yeah. So it's like, that's a lot of pressure on your producer. It is tough for a producer to like produce someone else's vision. Because
they don't know
they don't know what you're going for. I could just be like, that's not right. And he's like, well, I don't know what, maybe this? I'm like, that's not right. So I think me and Chris, my producer, have grown together to the point where now it's a little more symbiotic in the studio, to where like, I have an idea, Chris, I was just thinking that, or vice versa. So, and I think we just take our time more. I think before I was like I just wasn't a perfectionist because I was scared of the hard work it took to be a perfectionist. It's just like, I was just kind of happy with demos because I didn't really, that's a song, and I don't know like what's possible of like, what if I completely destroy like a week's worth of work? What if I decide like, I don't like this song at all and I want to just keep the chorus but ditch the verses? So I think I'm just more of a perfectionist.
Yeah, and you're not so eager to get something out.
I'm not so eager to get stuff out. I'm not so eager to get stuff out. I'm like able to just like fine tune the production more. And I guess just like from a music perspective now, I have like two halves of me now. There's like, in the rate of like, media and content based stuff, I will continue to make songs that don't take me a lot of time, and I'll put them out. And at this point, 32 years old, I've been rapping for 10 years or more. If I make anything, it's decent. It's not like terrible. It's okay. So I I have songs that I'll just like write pretty quickly and just put it out for the sake of putting music out. But then I've also been working on an album for 2 years. And those are songs that I'm like meticulously combing over. And so I'm kind of trying to play both ends of the spectrum of making music, of like put out what's easy, you know, just kind of like songs that are more like punchline driven, no real concept to them, and just get that out for the sake of keeping music out there. And all the while tinkering on my little masterpieces, or close as I can get.
You mentioned 2 years that you've been working on this album that you're about to drop now.
Yeah, I just finished tracking it.
So 2 years, is that kind of common? Is that fast? Is that long?
That's long. It was the longest. This is the longest. It's like going on 3 now. It's the longest I've been working on a thing. It was cool. So the album's called Grow Up. And there's a lot of albums dealing with grow up, by the way. Andy Fiasco's putting out an album called Growing Pains. I got a friend in Cleveland. Her name's Charity Cunningham. She's a great artist. Check her out. Also releasing an album called Growing Pains. Has no idea who any of, doesn't know about. There's a lot of just like growth, maybe just like from the collective unconscious. Growth seems to be a real motif amongst artist friends of mine. So that's just like an interesting thing. But yeah, so I wrote like 3 or 4 songs at the beginning, about 3 years ago, with the idea of like, I want to come up with an album about like accepting responsibilities, dealing with the fact that like as an adult you have to like, you can't just cancel plans at the last minute. You can't just like willy-nilly be like, I don't really, you have to accept commitment. I mean, you guys are your parents, like it's like, there's like a general thing of like, even just owning a cat will teach you just like, you can't just like spontaneously decide to change your life drastically anymore. As you get older, you have to accept responsibilities. So I wrote like 3 or 4 songs about 3 years ago from that mindset of just like rebelling against growing up. And they were pretty good. And I was like, all right, well, if I want this to have like an arc, if I want to like have it feel like there's growth and perspective, I gotta just not write a song about this topic for the next like at least 6 months just to see. So then I just kind of like would wait. I'd write like some bars, I'd always stay rapping, but it took me maybe like 6 or 7 months till I wrote another song. Like, oh, this feels like growth from the perspective of those original 3 songs. And I wait another like 6 months. And so now I have 10 songs that I've finished. And I think it shows growth. I feel like a different guy. I'm definitely a different guy than I was 3 years ago. And I feel like the songs that I wrote show by the end of the album, this is a slightly more mature person than there was at the beginning of this album.
You want to tell us all when it's going to drop?
I hope in August, but I don't know. I hope in August or September is what I'm going for. I just tracked it, so it kind of depends on how quickly it gets mixed. And then once you get your mixes, it's like, okay, how much can I like promo this thing? But, I'm shooting for this year.
So you've name dropped a few different artists. You did drop some artist names while we were just cutting the hair and stuff. Who are your biggest influences, or who are some people that you look to for inspiration when you're creating your own music?
I really like I love Lil Dicky. I think Dave Bird, Lil Dicky is a genius. I like J. Cole a lot. J. Cole is probably one of my favorite rappers. Kendrick Lamar from rapping and just like deep way to tell a story. Kendrick Lamar's albums are genius. Just a person who really like creates a body of work with like linear trajectories and storylines and like deep messages. That I think that Kendrick Lamar is like a genius. I mean, I think I'm not alone in thinking that. I think a lot of us think that, but yeah, those are pretty big inspirations.
I can kind of see that because the way your albums kind of follow, like it's almost like a story. And I think you wrote like an album that talked about your move
to Los Angeles,
Los Angeles, right? So that's like it's a sort of similar, I guess you said, a linear,
just storyline. Yeah, kind of like a way to tell a story without like just in little songs and seeing if it feels like a journey. So I think that I'm also really into this dude La Russell right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know La Russell?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I love La Russell. I just got hip pretty like a month ago, and I just I love his whole energy. He's so like witty and clever and lyrical, but just like a ball of sunshine.
Yeah, I haven't dug deep enough to be able to
awesome.
like name drop any of his songs, but I caught him on social media and I started following him, and just liked what I was hearing off the social media
he's
stuff.
great. He's just like, and he does like, I mean, he made a stage in his backyard in like 2018, and he would just like throw these shows in his backyard. It would just pay what you want, and now he's got like 1.6 million followers, and he's still doing shows in his backyard. Just cool dude. Also, worth mentioning as far as inspirations is the Palmer Squares, who I'm on tour with. I've been following the Palmer Squares since 2015 or something. With me, James, and Chris found them, and we would like create these little YouTube cypher videos in our basement, pretty much just copying what the Palmer Squares were doing. So it's just crazy to like.
Yeah, they've been doing it for
they're great.
A long time, and they do it well for sure.
Also Wax. I think that's pretty much
I love Wax.
Yeah. Wax is one of the best rappers.
Wax.
Period.
He was a really good dude to me too.
Dude, he's like one of the best rappers and just like artists. Period.
Toby, tell me, name an artist that might surprise people that you listen to.
I mean, I guess I just established the musical theater thing, but like I love musical theater, specifically Lin-Manuel Miranda, I guess the guy who wrote Hamilton. He has a new musical out, in case you guys haven't caught up with him in a while. Wow. It's called The Warriors. It's a new concept album. It's based off the movie The Warriors, but all the characters are female. Takes place in the birth of hip-hop. Pretty great. Maybe just that I love musical theater, specifically Lin-Manuel Miranda. I just love it. I love it. It's like they're just hyper specific stories that like it's just like it's crazy how like these hyper specific stories feel like like I feel so connected to like how does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore, like it's just crazy. I love it. I love musical theater, and I'm also a fan of Chapel Roan, mostly because of my girlfriend, but Chapel Roan, amazing.
Missouri's own.
Yeah. What's she work at? She worked at Scooters Coffee?
Willard, Missouri. Scooters Coffee.
Yeah, she was like her first job. We're going to stop by. I think we're going to stop by just to get the full experience.
These scooters, there's a bunch of them around.
Yeah, well, any of them will do. We'll tell ourselves it was the Scooters.
So could you see yourself on Broadway in the future?
Probably not. I feel like that's a lot. That's a whole different dream. I think we've been chasing the rap thing for too long. I mean, if somebody called me up, heck yeah, but I don't think I have it in me to ditch. We're barely making progress in the rap department, so to just full 180 and go to sweat it out on Broadway at 32, I don't think I got the chops. That should have been 20.
Stick to where you're growing.
We'll stick to rapping, yeah.
All right, let's switch it up a little bit. I want to talk about where you're from. So you are originally from the Cleveland area, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about where you're from.
Let's talk about Cleveland, Ohio. All right. We all know that the future is uncertain and climate is uncertain. Climate change is real. Where do you want to be in 20 years? You want to be near fresh water and low cost of living. And let me tell you, Cleveland, Ohio has you covered. It is a steel industry town that is emerging from the ashes of the steel industry leaving during NAFTA, because of NAFTA, for jobs leaving for, steel plant. I don't really know actually what happened with when the steel left. I'm not going to pretend like I know. Yeah. But it's good. It's a good city. It's pretty low cost of living, a big body of water, Lake Erie, and it's just it's no different than most of your Midwestern kind of Rust Belt towns. The people are nice. They dress in a lot of like earthy mid-tones. No one's too like. There's not a lot of like crazy eccentricity. It's like it's a good town. It's down to earth. People feel humble. I think it's important to live. In my opinion, I think it's important to live where snow happens just to round you out. I lived in, this is great. California was great. Nothing wrong with California. But I do feel like if you don't live in a place where it snows all the time, it can be very tough to just I don't know, you want a little bit of season. You want people to feel like life's not all grand. You want someone with a little bit of morbidity to them, someone who's seen a winter. So I don't know. Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's not paradise by most people's standards, but it provides me a cheap enough cost of living to be able to travel around, to come to Kansas City, play some shows, and I have a lot of good friends and a lot of good people.
Toby, can you tell us about your experience on moving to LA?
To LA? Yeah. I left Cleveland, Ohio to go to Los Angeles for no particular reason. Just to do it, just to see what would happen. I worked as a caterer for a while. I went door to door working for Greenpeace. I was like, just basically like, have you heard about the climate? Just trying to get people to donate to Greenpeace. It's a crazy, brutal job, just like hot and full of rejection. And then I met a bunch of rappers in Los Angeles. Then we would like go out onto Hollywood Boulevard and we would just go cypher. We just go like rap on Hollywood Boulevard. And we had like a speaker and some mics, and then we'd just be rapping, and people would gather, and they'd be like, "Can I get on the mic?" And you'd be like, "Yeah." So we would just create these little ciphers on Hollywood Boulevard, and that was cool. That was like a very much like, it felt like a crash course in just what it was to be an MC, to just start a party of rappers out of nothing. We do that about every weekend, which was pretty awesome. And I made an album in Los Angeles. It was great. Flew my buddy Chris out. We stayed in the back. This guy named Brendan. His roommate had a recording studio that he ran during the day, and so at nighttime, around like 8 p.m., we were allowed to use it till like 5 a.m. So we would sleep all day. We would record from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the back of this back of the house studio, and made an album in California. And then the pandemic hit when I was on tour. And then I moved back to Cleveland because I was like, well, I don't want to live in the place where you go to meet people if I'm not allowed to go outside and meet people. So I went back to Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, because you were out there to make more friends.
And out there to make more friends. And it's tough to make friends when you're locked in your really expensive place in Glendale. Miss the mountains, though. I miss the mountains.
We don't have any mountains out here.
Tough.
We get nothing. We got some hills.
You got some hills. We got some hills, too. I got some pretty decent hills in Ohio. But yeah, nothing like a mountain.
And this is a good opportunity to talk about your incident on the mountains. Speaking of mountains, but what kind of drama have you had while you're on the road touring?
Well, no drama necessarily Palmer Square is no drama. Those guys are awesome. It's just, they're very fun. They're just like doing stand-up those guys are great. They're funny. They're great rappers, and like the shows are awesome. It's so funny to watch a Palmer Square show. It's so funny to watch a Palmer Square show because it's just two dudes that are like very funny. They're basically doing stand-up comedy while just all of these people are just diehard fans just screaming requests at them, and they're just very cool, calm, and collected. Like, we'll get to that. They're good showmen. So no problem. No drama with them. I did learn they're really good at tech decks, like the finger skateboarding thing.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredible. They're like best in the world. They gotta be. They're very good. And so I did just recently learn how to ollie with it. That was a big breakthrough. But no drama there. We took some days off. Myself and my girlfriend is on tour with me. Her name is Ellie. She goes by DJ Girlfriend. She's been my DJ on it. She's off camera over there. And DJ Girlfriend took a spill. We went skiing on one of our off days in Colorado at Breckenridge. And she took a spill. On the second run. We felt pretty bad for DJ Girlfriend. Had to go down and get the ski lift. She got to take that. No one likes to get hurt on a mountain, but there is one silver lining. You don't get to go down on the sled unless you're injured. There's only one way you get to go down on that sled.
We wanted to get a shot of DJ Girlfriend.
Yeah, a shot of DJ Girlfriend right there.
Let's go ahead and
ski patrol.
Yeah.
There's the leg.
Yeah.
She got ski patrolled.
Did you have the little blanket over you?
She was mummified. She was mummified, and she had to go all the way down. So it's pretty rough on the knee. DJ Girlfriend's got a crazy knee situation going on. Then I got propositioned by this crazy person. So we're in the we're in the lobby, and she's injured. And she's just like, man, upset. We go get a drink. I'm like, baby, let's go get a drink. Make things a little better. And while we're getting a drink, we meet this girl next to us who seems pretty nice. She's a very nice person. Seemed like it. And she's by herself. We get a drink. Ellie's like, you should go out. So I'll get up and go out. And this girl's by herself like, hey, man, I'll come with you. And I was like, all right, cool. She's like, you got to help me find a husband, though. I was like, sure, dude, I'll wingman you. And I go on this ski lift with her, and like very quickly, this person first established that they're like, oh, I have a hot tub. We'll go for like 30 minutes, and we'll bring your girlfriend to the hot tub. We could soak your knee and everything. I was like, wow, this person's great. I'm texting Ellie like, we might have just got a hot tub.
See, people listening are gonna know where this is going.
Dude, yeah. So
You guys were
and me and Ellie are like so oblivious. We told this story a couple times. Like, dude, that girl was trying to. Everybody's just like, that girl was after you, and we had no idea. So and then I just asked like a pretty just like basic question, like, what kind of music do you like? And she finds a way to just segue that into just being like, listen, I'm a little racist. And I was like, and you just had a chairlift with this person. And like, all right, well, don't be.
That's your icebreaker.
Dude, it's just like, and I was like, all right, well, don't be that. And she's just like, she was just like, okay. I was like, yeah, dude, don't be that. So I spent the rest of the chairlift trying to put her on game to like reasons that things are set up the way they are and how you like need to get on board with the program, Daryl. And she kind of settles down. And then we get to the top of the mountain, and she's like, now, like, we got to go get a shot. And I was like, okay. So I, like, take a shot. She tries to give me half of hers. Like, this girl's trying to get me drunk. And I, like, see in the moment, like, all right, I got to take off. So we get outside, and she's just, like, then hits me with just, like, hey, man, if you were by yourself, you know, I'd totally make out with you. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not. I don't know what you want. Like, you met my girlfriend. And she's like, well, maybe we could have a threesome back at the place. And I was like, no such thing as a free hot tub, man.
Was this the first time you've been propositioned for this type of situation?
First time on a mountain. First time on a mountain. I definitely it's the one that comes to mind. So then she's just like, we gotta have a threesome with you and your girlfriend. I was like, I'll ask, but like, I mean, already I'm thinking like, no way. So I gotta warn my girlfriend while I'm on a mountain what the heck's coming down the mountain towards her. So I take this girl who's super drunk at this point and like weird. Oh yeah, and she's also like weirdly religious. She's like, yeah, I just had sex for the first time like a year ago, and I don't know. I just feel like I've been told that maybe I'm gonna go to hell, but I don't think I'm gonna go to hell. You think I'm gonna go to hell? And I was just like, whoa, bro, let's just get down the hill. So I take her through the woods. And she's falling all over the place. And as she's falling, I use those moments to just like, hey man, girl got weird. No such thing as a free hot tub. We gotta ditch this girl. And then she's like, I'm coming. I'm like, okay. And I just like speed down the mountain, get off my board, tell Ellie everything. Like, we gotta ditch this girl. And then she finally gets to us. She's like, so what do you guys think? You wanna come back to the place? And we're just like, yeah, you know, she's hurt. We should probably get out of here, man. And she was just like, you sure? Like, we're sure. And so then, but also I really wanted to do like one more run to get to the top I wanted to go all the way to the top to the bottom. Didn't want to go with that girl. So we had to just wait 10 minutes, wait for her to be ditched. And then I went up to the top of the mountain and got this crazy sunburn. No one told me you need it's snow. Nobody thinks, well, I don't think sunscreen when there's snow on the ground.
You went halfway up to the sun.
I went about halfway to the sun. Yeah,
a lot closer to the sun than you are now.
So now we got this crazy sunburn. Which shout out to AJ for just giving me a clean cut, no pain. Yeah, so I'm roasted.
Yeah. That's a crazy story. It sounds to me like
that girl.
She was probably the type, like you said, was raised real religious. She got free, and now she's going completely the other direction.
Yeah, now she's hunting down young couples at Breckenridge.
We'll find you
with some weird pickup lines. She's got some pretty crazy pickup lines.
I've never been hit on by somebody asking.
I'm a little racist.
Yeah, that's
feeling me out for my level of racistness.
Yeah, I don't think that's a way to pull.
So would you say you're racist? No, it's not gonna work.
No, it's not gonna work out.
Thinking about it. Toby, what's something on your bucket list that you want to do?
Man, we were just playing Never Have I Ever in the car. What was one thing I haven't done? Oh, shoot. What? Oh, you know. Okay. I think I want to go something more musical. The first thing I was going to say is play around in the mine shaft. that was something I established that I've never done. It's hard to play Never Have I Ever with your girlfriend of 2 years because like I know most of the things and vice versa. So I was like, never have I ever played in a mine shaft.
Is that playing as in like just having...
Just exploring a mine shaft, I think would be pretty interesting. You know, an old mine.
That's how people get trapped and then they never come out.
Yeah, but I've never done it, So I'd say bucket list would be, I would play Red Rocks. Now, I was spoiled a little bit because Tropodelic is the greatest band ever and my great friends. They played Red Rocks. And I went to go just support my friends. First time they were playing Red Rocks, I was so excited. They opened for the Dirty Heads. And when I get there, they asked me if I wanted to rap a verse with them on stage. So like, I've been on stage at Red Rocks with a sold out show and rapped. So that's a pretty crazy moment, but I would like to have my own name billed to play. Now I got a taste of it. Now I'd love to play Red Rocks in any capacity.
I want to see you out there too. You will be.
We'll get there. We got some years. We got some years of grinding, but we could pull it off.
With what you said about that, I wanted to ask from earlier, when you do a collab with other musicians and everything, who writes it? Both of you?
If I collab with other musicians, I probably write like if it's my song, I write most of the song and then leave just a small section leave a verse section for the artist in question. And then
same vice versa for other.
And vice versa. If somebody wants to collab with me, usually it's just, unless I'm like, I just did like a little EP with my friend. He goes by PFV, he goes by Postcard PFV. And Chris produces for both of us. So with that, we kind of were in the studio and able to he just writes super fast. And I don't typically write super fast, but I got to get on board with his thing. So I just wrote in the same room with him, and that was super fun. But I mean, traditionally, just in people's busy lives, I think it's like, if you want an artist to collaborate with you, you pretty much got to come up with the bulk of the thing, send it to them for their input, and then they write something and then send it back to you. I think that's the most efficient way to collaborate in a busy world.
I want to hit you with two more of my own questions. I'll let AJ ask a final question, then we'll close it out with you. One last question for you. So, what's something that scares you in life?
Dying.
Same.
Death. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, definitely that. But I would say generally things that scare me in life are just things I can't control. Like, I mean, geopolitical drama scares me. Nuclear weapons scare me. I would say that's probably more than anything. Just the fact that, not to take it to a dark place, but that's a scary thing. Just things that are way beyond my control scare me. And I think that's probably all of us. That's almost what that's what fear is. Just things that you can't control, that either are possible or inevitable. That scares me. But yeah, there's nothing I can do about that necessarily. I mean, there's nothing I can do about a lot of things. So life is just a constant centering point of just like, if changing the things in my own personal sphere that I can, like telling that girl on the ski lift not to be racist, pushing off that girl from the ski lift, but just like, trying to like center myself in the classic, I was raised Catholic, the Lord help me to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just life as a general centering on like really coming to grips with I can't change the nuclear stockpiles. They're there, and they were there before I came on this planet, and I don't think there's much I can do about that. So kind of coming to terms with...
Acceptance is sort of like one of your ways that you can deal with something like that scares you. Are there other things that you do in order for you to kind of combat your fears?
Write songs, I guess. Yeah, just like try to figure out a way to have a perspective that seems at least calming to myself, and then turn it into a song, release it, and hopefully somebody feels, if we're talking about things that feel like general universal fear, I've learned the more that you I've learned, there was an acting teacher that I had once that said, the more specific, the more universal. And that's like how he told you to act. Just like the more specific to your scene, don't try to act broadly, act specifically. And ironically, people universally will feel you because everybody feels what it's like to have specifics. Even if they don't relate to this moment, they know specificity and like the human experience. And so I don't know, I think that's something that I've like realized with writing songs. Just I write songs that quell my own fear, just make me feel a little better. And then hopefully it makes other people. And I think the more specific I write to myself, ironically, it seems that
we can all resonate.
People in like Colorado Springs will be like, hey man, there's this guy who hadn't heard of me ever. He just came to the show, didn't even know the Palmer Squares. And it was like, that song you wrote, it's called Psycho Pipe Dream. It's just about social anxiety and such, and needing and people pleasing. And he was just like, I heard that and I had to come talk to you. And I thought I was writing that song when I first wrote that song. I thought I was just writing about how I'm a little people pleaser and I just need everyone to like me. And he's just like, I feel that, man. So, yeah, I think doing what I can to, affect change how I can within arm's reach. And then when things are without arm reach, write a song and hopefully it can do something to change something further than me.
You were talking about your fear of the nuclear situation.
Yes.
So this is a good segue into my last question for you is, if there was a situation where we had to evacuate and you get the hell out of town, I'd love to ask this question. So what are the top 3 to 5 items that you would grab on your way out there?
Okay, I gotta go back. I bought, me and my girlfriend, we got bug out bags. I don't have a gun, and I've realized my bug out bag is so incomplete. I do not own a gun, and that is like, no bug out bag is true. What's the point of a bug out bag if somebody could just have a gun and no bug out bag and then take your bug out bag? Yeah. So I probably need a gun. So I guess I'm taking my bug out bag. So that's got the tents, that's got the iodine, that's got the water purification. We got the bag. Probably gonna get a gun, just a small one, just a little personal pistol. I don't know. Yeah, rocket launcher. Probably some sort of weapon. Maybe I got a knife. It's a good kitchen knife. Duels as another weapon too. A nice sturdy knife for like chopping and stuff. And I got like. Oh, you know what else is not complete in the bug out bag that I gotta get? Like a infinity match. What you're going? Like an infinity match. Well, I gotta get something to light it. Yeah.
Like a flint
probably
steel type
like a flint steel type situation. Start fire, and probably some sort of marijuana, some drug. Yeah, like some sort of drugs, some sort of like gummies. I'm a big fan of El Camino 5 milligram gummies. That's just enough to keep the edge off the apocalypse. Nothing to be too fried, just enough to keep the edge off the apocalypse. Just 5 milligram gummies, as long as they can last me. Try to make them stretch.
Yeah, you can't be too high in the apocalypse because you need to be on point.
You got to be vigilant, but you can't be shaking with fear. You got to be focused. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me see. Should I don't want to say just name a few. Name 5 artists that you would like to collab with that are going to see this and hear it.
They're going to see this. I want to collab with Wax. I want to collab with Little Stranger. I want to collab with Andy Fiasco. I want to collab with Joey Harcum. And I want to collab with Brandon Hardesty. Although Brandon look a little, maybe in the future, we got a little sandwich boy action. Yeah, I like those guys. I mean, that in this scene, I mean, of people that I've like met or like at least have vaguely contact, I want to collaborate with those people. Thinking Upward, Lil Dicky, for sure. Don't know if J. Cole's interested, but would love to. Low Russell. Definitely. Kendrick Lamar. I mean, that would be sick. I don't think Kendrick Lamar and I would make a good song. That just seems like 2 different worlds. But, I would like to do Harry Mack would be cool. I met Harry Mack once. That would be pretty cool to do Harry Mack. And Give me like a fifth. You know, let's just shoot for the top. I want Lil Wayne. I want to make a song with Wheezy.
All right.
Going back to Harry Mack, do you freestyle?
Kinda, not as well as Harry Mack. Not even as well as people who tour with Harry Mack. But I mean, I'll throw on some beats and like I know the general rubric of how to freestyle. I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could cipher with him, and then if you impress him enough, you can get him on the track.
Come on, bro. Yeah, you know.
Get on Omegle and just wait for him to show up on the other side.
Harry, what's up, bro?
You know all those.
Yeah, my
videos,
girlfriend
right?
sometimes she's got like a little app, like a little beatboxing app, and she'll just throw it on the car, and I'll just start freestyling at my girlfriend. Man, shout out to all the girlfriends who date rappers who have just been rapped at. We got to get better somehow. Like I can't get better rapping to my room. It's just tough to rap to nobody. You know, it's just too easy to second guess yourself or just stop because there's nobody you're holding their attention. So shout out to all those girlfriends who just been rapped at.
I've rapped at my wife. I'm rapping.
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't say I'm like, you know, I'm not putting out songs, but I throw down.
Throw down a little bit?
And she gets to hear it.
Yeah, shout out to all those ones just listening to us rap.
Don't put that back out on social media again.
What?
You're rapping.
No?
Do it.
Delete it?
Do it. Always do it.
All right. Let's close this out. This is your last and final chance to say whatever you want to say to the fans watching it.
All right, well, hello. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the cut, AJ. Thank you for having me on the show. I mean, I don't know. Kansas City's been good to me. Thanks for the barbecue as well. Shout out. Jack Stack, shout out. Yeah, that was amazing. I don't know. Thanks for having me. If you want to check out my music and you don't already know who I am, I go by TobyRaps. And I'm on tour. I'm playing, I mean, I don't know when we air. When does this air?
A week.
A week. I'll be off tour by then, but I'll be on tour in the future. Catch me at Everwild. Come see Everwild. Come to Tropidelic's Music Festival in Thornville, Ohio, the first weekend in August. It's going to be great.
That festival is highly recommended.
Highly recommended. Also come to High Hopes. I'm going to be at that in June too.
Yeah.
Bumpin' Ugly's Music Festival.
We'll see.
I'll be out here.
We'll see you there.
See you there, guys.
All right. This was highly recommended in the barbershop. That's it. Peace.
Peace.